Hi, I'm here today with Narita Omar, and she's talking about business Drive and Thrive. And I love what she does. I work with clients with anxiety and depression as well. And Narita, you've got an amazing story. What I love about so many healers is we come and build our business from adversities. And you've had a brain injury. So I would love you to tell your story about your journey and why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, 10 years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury, and it was it came quite sudden to me because, of course, when you have an injury like that, most of the time you don't really get the signs, you don't really get a warning before that. So what happened was I was working in a New Zealand casino. I was on a very high stage and I was doing a draw. I do not know how it happened. Maybe at that time I was just, being a busy person. I wasn't practicing mindfulness. I wasn't mindful about, where I was standing, what I was doing on the stage and all that. So I actually fell off the stage and my right side of my head hit the ground. And on the way down, I knocked on a wooden drink table, and that wooden drink table came knocking on my left. So I had what they call like a, brain jar, like double whammy, right and left. But when I had that fall, when I got up, I didn't really check in with myself, like you just had a fall. You should usually check how you're feeling and all that. But I was too focused in what other people are thinking of me. I was too focused with the 4,000 people in the audience. I was embarrassed. I had a fall. So I was too focused on what people are saying or thinking. I just quickly got up, brushed myself off, and continued doing what I was doing then. And then I walked away, and everything was fine. But a few minutes after that, I was supposed to be signing a prize payment form. And suddenly I I caught myself in this really weird moment where I was having a conversation with my finger. Because normally, when you want to move, you just move whatever way you want. You don't really kind of like talk to your hand or your legs. But I caught myself having a conversation with my finger saying, hey, that's the form, that's the pen, sign the form. And I was having that conversation like a few times. And that was when I freaked out because I realized that I couldn't move my finger. And I was more freaked out when I realized that I couldn't actually move at all. I couldn't speak. I couldn't tell people, that I can't move my finger or something like that. And from there, I couldn't remember what happened. But I was told by my colleagues and sources that they had to put me in a wheelchair and take me to hospital. And when I was in the hospital, I gained back a bit of my consciousness, and I was in a wheelchair. I could see the fuss happening around me, the doctors, the nurses trying to attend to me, but I was just like a vegetable in the wheelchair. I couldn't respond, and that really freaked me out because at that time I thought I was dead. I thought maybe, this is because you watch TV about this kind of stuff, and I thought, I was dead. I thought that was my spirit or my soul, seeing all these people, but I couldn't reply, I couldn't respond. And after that, I lost consciousness again. And a few days later, I gained my consciousness and it's a long story, but I'm cutting it short. I gained my consciousness and I found out that, I wasn't walking properly. I couldn't, string sentences, to have a proper communication, because I speak few languages. So during at that time, I was having difficulties to find the right word from the right language to put it in a sentence. And to make it worse, I feel like I need to go to the toilet, but then there was a little bit of a disconnection. I feel like I want to go to the toilet, but then, I didn't really feel like, it's like my mind saying I want to go to the toilet, but then my body, I didn't feel it. But then at times I feel like my body, wanting to go to the toilet, but my mind is not there. And then I found out that, I have this bag with me, and that is my urinary bag, because, my mind couldn't tell my body to go to the toilet. And that was the part that it really hit me, because, for someone who, at that age, 30 years old, I had You know, I had my life together. I had a great job. I had an apartment. I had, you know, a really adventurous, energetic lifestyle. And then suddenly, you know, I couldn't walk properly. I couldn't have a conversation. I couldn't even go to the toilet properly, you know. And when I get home, it was really a struggle because I have memory loss, you know, often. Like I could have a conversation with you and then 2 minutes later, I wouldn't even remember what we talk about, or I wouldn't even remember that I had that chat with you. And then you know, like there's been like a couple of times where I set the kitchen on fire because I didn't realize that I had the stove on, you know. So those kind of stuff really create a lot of havoc in my life at that time, because suddenly I feel like I was in a different body, you know, and everything changes without my choice, and everything changed just within like that, you know. Like one day I woke up and, you know, I'm in a different body, and everything changed. And yeah, so that led me to a severe depression, anxiety. And when you in that kind of position, it's just hard not to think about negative things. So every single day I just think about the things that I can't do, you know, and every single day I just get really angry with myself, with the world, with my employers, with just everyone. And that creates a lot of what I call it unsettled emotions in me, and I got worse and I become suicidal. And yeah, and I nearly actually what I call it, I nearly actually I did actually attempt once, and my friend found me. And yeah, and but after that I was still suicidal. And then one day I was about to actually, like, you know, I already planned, like, today's the day, no one's gonna find me, today's the day, I'm gonna do it. And within that couple, you know, I'm not sure, like probably a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, I was sitting in there where I knew that, okay, you know, I gotta make a choice now, because I'm in, you know, I'm here now, and I gotta make a choice. Do I really want to take the exit door? Because everything is just so painful at the moment, and I feel like my life is over. I feel like, you know, do I just want to take the exit door, or do I, you know, do I want to maybe just try again and see, maybe, you know, maybe there's something there. So in that moment when I was about, honestly, you know, the thoughts was more towards the exit door, and suddenly I get this kind of message. I got a message, and I'm not sure until today whether it's my inner thoughts, whether, you know, whether it's my own feelings, or I'm not sure. But I did hear a female voice saying to me, there are beautiful things in store for you, and if you do this, you will not see the beautiful things in store for you. And that was the moment it really hit me, and I started crying. I started thinking about my mom, you know, and at that moment something just hit me, and I just found this strength to say that, hey, you know, I'm not gonna let this be me. This is not how the story gonna end. And yeah, and I decided, okay, you know, at that point I made a choice that, okay, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna let this brain injury beat me. I'm not gonna let this situation beat me. I'm gonna bounce back. But I didn't know how to bounce back at that time, because I wasn't open about my conditions and my emotions. Because at that time I was working in a casino. I was a casino manager, and I was in a situation where I've learned to be independent. I've learned not to ask for help. I've learned to just show the tough front, you know, because that's what's required with the job. And that's what I've learned to be, because I was in a foreign country. I've always been independent since I was young, you know, since my parents split up and all that. But at that time I knew that I had to get help. So I went back to my doctor and my neurologist, and I said, hey, I'm suicidal and I need help. And that was the day where, you know, before that they did try to get me to do therapies and, you know, try out different modalities and all that. But because I've never been in those situations, whenever they try to teach me about, you know, try to get me to go to these therapies, some of the therapies I was very skeptical. Like I was like, oh, you know, this really gonna work, you know. But at that time when I asked for help, whatever therapies they said, like meditation, body talk, you know, I tried them all because I know I want to get better. And also, you know, like, yeah, there's stuff that I do to help myself. There are things that I learn, you know, to do to help myself so that I could help myself when I'm feeling challenged at home. Yeah, so I was very blessed that I managed to overcome, you know, the whole thing. It's been 10 years, and sometimes I forgot about it. I don't really talk about it because it was the darkest period of my life. And sometimes when I think about it, you know, it's really sad when I think about, you know, how I actually have that thought 10 years ago. But what happened was last year, what started Strive and Thrive was last year I lost my friend to suicide. And I felt like there's nothing I could do to help her, but maybe I could do something to help those that are still around. And that's how Strive and Thrive was launched. Yeah. There's no business plan, there's no plans. It's just like, okay, you know, we gotta do this.
Well, the thing is, doing what you do for there are still people that suffer depression and anxiety, and it's a major problem out there because a lot of people will just be put on medication, but you're not really getting the underlying issue, and we really need to deal with the underlying issue. So I'm wondering, obviously you started getting better physically, so as you got better physically you started feeling better. How did you get yourself better again? What types of modalities did you use? How did you get yourself back to feeling good again?
Well, what happened was the first thing that really kind of like hit me. I went to see my neurologist, right? And I went to see my doctors, and I told them that I'm suicidal, I need help. And it was funny at that time because they didn't say anything, but I still remember the only thing he said was, "Come with me." And I followed him, and he took me to the brain injury ward where, you know, the much more serious patients were. And at that time, I was this girl who had traumatic brain injury. There's a lot of things that I can't do, but I was still I was still walking. There's still a few other things that I can still do. But of course, at that time, I didn't focus on the things that I can do. I just focused on the things that I can't do because I was just in that negative bubble. So when he took me to the brain injury ward, I saw other patients who are much more less fortunate than me. You know, I saw patients that couldn't feed themselves. I saw patients that couldn't even talk at all or couldn't even respond. And when I saw these guys, that was what hit me, like, oh my God, you know, like I'm still so fortunate compared to these guys, you know. And I had a conversation with their family and all that about, you know, how life was for them and for the family. And at that point, I turned around. My neurologist and my doctor were not with me. They apparently, and I suddenly realized, oh, I'm all alone here. And then as I walk out to leave the hospital, right, I was walking towards this pathway, and suddenly I realized, oh my God, I'm walking. You know, I'm walking, and I could still walk. And then from there, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm still walking. I could feed myself. I'm not able to work now, but at least I have the work compensation, you know, to what I call it, to give me income to pay my bills and all that. And at that point of time, suddenly I just think about how blessed I am compared to those people that are much more, you know, less fortunate than me. So that was the time that I actually learned how grateful I am and how I should be grateful for the things that I still can do, the things that I still have, you know, as simple as walking, you know. And yeah, so the first thing that really, really helped me, and that's the reason why, you know, I'm so big with, you know, with expressing gratitude, because that was the first thing that really changed my mindset. And I think it's really important to work on the mindset first, because there's so much the doctors, counselors, psychologists, whatever could teach you, but if your mind is not there, then nothing changed. Because that was me when I first was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. They were giving me all these modalities, these therapies, you know, they made me go for it. And I, you know, but my mind wasn't really in the recovery mode. I was skeptical about everything. I didn't want to do it because I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Or, this is bullshit. You know, this is nonsense. But when I start expressing gratitude, and then that express gratitude, right? It created that shift in my mindset, and my mindset start to think, you know, positive things, and every single day ever since that, I just focus thinking about the things that I can do, the things that I still have, and that creates that, you know, positive momentum, you know, and then from there, you know, my mind starts to be a bit more open to try the other modalities like body talk, like meditation. Because before that, I really refused meditation because I didn't know how to do it, because even they try to teach me, but I was just resisting it because my body at that time, I never slow down. Like the old me before the TBI, I was very hyper, you know, I never stop. I was just doing things, go, 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 go. And then suddenly when they try to teach me to do meditation, I still remember at that time, because brain injury meditation is a little bit different than a normal meditation. I still remember he said to me, the doctor said to me, lie down, stare at the white ceiling, think of nothing, feel nothing, just empty everything inside you. And I just feel like, how am I gonna do this? And because I feel like it's not something that I've done before, I was skeptical. I didn't want to do it because I feel like this is weird, you know. But when I was open to try it, of course, you know, it takes a while for me to actually get into it. But I was open to embrace that modality, to try out, to take the instructions of how to do it, to just do it. And after a few weeks, like I realized that I become more calmer, you know, I become more calmer, and my mind starts to get a bit more calm, and I'm a bit more receptive, you know, towards this new thing called meditation at that time. Yeah, and then with body talk and all that, I was very skeptical of body talk because I was like, you know, is this really gonna work, you know? But after about, I think, 5 weeks, you know, after 5 weeks, I start to go. I was able to go to the toilet by myself without the bag, you know. So that changes, and yeah, and so after I did body talk. The first one is gratitude. That was like the big one, and meditation. I use essential oils as well because at that time, you know, there was so much frustration and anger inside me. And although physically I'm not able to, you know, to move fast, but my mind and my emotions, everything was just, it was quite, you know, I was quite in a rage. So essential oils calms me down. And yeah, so I use essential oils, meditation, self-hypnosis, body talk. So those are the main ones that I was continuously on for about nearly 2 years. But the thing is that, you know, the thing that I really focus on at that time is my mindset, because I know I've made a choice to stay alive. So if I made a choice to stay alive, then whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. And one of the things that I really changed was, before the injury, I never eat vegetables. I hate vegetables. My whole life I've never eaten vegetables. But when I've decided, when I made a choice that, hey, I want to get better, so I knew that I'm not well, so I have to feed my body with the things that will help my brain and my body, you know, fully on that recovery, you know, directions. So I was smoking. I was a heavy smoker. I was, you know, I was drinking like a few times every week before, you know, before the injury. But when I decided that I wanted to get better, I quit smoking. I quit drinking cold turkey, just like that, because I knew that, you know, I did ask the doctor, like, oh, can I still have, like, you know, a couple of glasses of wine, that kind of thing. But then he explained to me about how alcohol will, you know, will, what call it, influence, because they were trying a few medication on me. So he was saying that, you know, I'm not telling you not to do it, but it's best not to do it because the alcohol will affect, you know, the recovery of your brain, will mess up the medication and all that. And then, yeah, so I just decided, okay, you know, I'm gonna quit smoking and drinking cold turkey, just like that. And instead, I started, because he told me about plant-based diet and all that, eating the stuff that my body and my brain needs. So I just took the initiative and did research about, what are the kind of food that I should eat for my brain, for brain injury. And that was the start that, I changed my whole diet, and I just eat all the brain food, the superfoods, every single meal, every single day. And the funny thing was, the doctor and the neurologist at first said that what made me, like become suicidal before that, because the doctor said that I will be like that for 5-7 years. They say, because I asked them, like, how long is it going to take for me to be like this, Like, how long is it going to take for me to recover? And they told me it's going to take me 5 to 7 years. And that was what made me suicidal, because I feel like, oh my God, I can't be like this 5 to 7 years. But from the day that I decided, from the day that I made a choice to change, and I applied those changes bit by bit, from that day, 18 months from that day, I went for a CT scan, and my neurologist was shocked because my brain swelling was down 85%. So the 5 to 7 years that they say it will take me actually only took me 18 months. So that to me was like a bizarre, like a big success, and even at that time, the hospital of Canterbury, they wanted to do further experiments on me, because they were shocked, like it took me, only 18 months to have, to get better. But I truly believe that it was because, it was not just the medication. I truly believe that it was my mindset, and my own, how I call it, like some people don't agree with, like when I speak on stage, some people don't agree when I say this, but I truly believe that it all started because I myself wanted to heal. Yeah.
I totally believe that, and it's an amazing story. And I think for people that are watching this who have anxiety and depression, they would understand the mindset, because I've suffered it from the past, and it's like a record going round and round and round in your head of all the negativity and all of the bad things that are happening, and it's like a black hole that you get fixated on. And yeah, when your mindset's like that, it's very, very hard to get out of it. And as you said, you just changed a tiny little thing, a little bit of that mindset, and that was gratitude. And then all these other things opened up for you, which is an amazing thing. And I think for somebody to create change when they have anxiety and depression, take one thing at a time. Like you did, rather than try to do all of the treatments and all of the healthy eating. And, you said it so beautifully. It was a journey for you. It took 18 months.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it's not just 18 months. In fact, until today, one thing that I'm so blessed with the brain injury, like some people say to me, like even until today, some people, challenge me when I say that I love my brain injury, that I actually so grateful and so thankful of my brain injury, because they couldn't understand, how can you embrace an injury? How can you embrace migraines, brain throbbing and all that? I fully admit now that the last many years, I was still in that mode where I don't really talk about it. I kind of like move on and I don't really talk about it. But now, ever since I started Strive and Thrive, I fully, tell people about it, because the brain injury was what got me to where I am today. And what is so awesome about the brain injury, because of the brain injury, I experienced pain, like deep pain. Because of the brain injury, I learned, how to love myself again. Because of the brain injury, I learned to love other people, And because of the brain injury, I learned all these modalities I was so ignorant about before that, because I didn't know, I didn't know about spirituality. I didn't know about meditation, about all these other things that is happening. I was just in my own bubble, I was just, like doing my own thing. I wasn't really, aware of the things happening around me. So this brain injury has taught me all these life skills plus skills that, in fact, I used it, for probably, I dare to say, for the rest of my life. because what happened was that brain injury happened 2006. And then a few years later, I was in the recovery, right? Things were great and, things were improving. I went back to work and all that. And what happened was at that time in 2010, there was an earthquake where I was living and I was injured in the earthquake. And I had so that is another trauma. And that is another, like I had anxiety, I couldn't sleep every single day, and I had depression. The depression, the anxiety, came back because, to be injured in an earthquake, not being able to leave the country to go and see your family because, I was all alone by myself at that time. That was a big trauma. But the funny thing was, it really didn't take me long to recover from that earthquake trauma, because I have learned these tools and technique, which I had during the brain injury, and I use these same techniques, and it probably just take me like 3-4 weeks maybe. And after that, I was like, okay, like on the ball again, finding job, moving country. And that was when I moved from New Zealand, where the earthquake was. So I lost everything there, and I moved to Australia with 2 pieces of clothing, and and it wasn't easy. I could get into like a deeper depression, but I didn't, because I've used the same tools that I've learned during the brain injury. And even after that, there was still few things happening, because life is so beautiful and amazing, but life is also can be challenging. And sometimes, I'm gonna say this, some people don't agree, but life can be shitty sometimes, but if you know the tools and the techniques to help yourself, then you build this resilience to kind of like on standby mode whenever whenever things get rough, and you get a bit shaky, but then you bounce back. So and that's the reason why until today I'm very thankful and grateful for all the things that I went through the brain injury.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I actually read an article on this yesterday about brain plasticity. So when you actually learn a behaviour, you're growing neural pathways in your brain, so it's easy for you to do it in the future. So once you found that strategy to get out of depression and out of anxiety, you never slip down as deep again, because you can pick yourself out of it. Because for me, I've got this feeling that I have where I'm like, if I let myself go deeper, I'm going to go deeper and deeper, and I can now, after years of practice, snap myself out of it. And I just think it's amazing. So to wrap this up, if you could give some top tips for people that are suffering from anxiety and depression, who are listening to this, they may or may not have a brain injury, but obviously there's some mental instability going on there. What would be your top tips for them?
First of all, I just want to say that you got to be patient. Like there's a lot of techniques and tools out there, but the main thing, I think, you have to be patient. You got to be patient with yourself. You got to be patient, for what you call it, the medication, or whether, it depends, because the things that I don't really want to say get off meds. Like, to be honest with you, I got off meds, because I have learned what those meds does for my body. So I do not want to take meds. That's my personal choice. But I do understand that there are some cases, especially with clinical depression and all that, they do need the meds. Okay, so I don't really want to say get off meds just because I get off meds. But what I'm saying is that if you are trying some kind of meds or some kind of other modalities, or you can't expect things to change within 2-3 days, or even 2-3 weeks. Sometimes it takes 2-3 months. You can, but at the same time, don't try too many. This is what I feel. Don't try too many. Try one at a time. Just try one at a time. Give it maybe 2-3 months. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm just saying based on my own personal experience. Whatever tools or technique or meds that you're on, try to give it 2-3 months. And within these 2-3 months, maybe, just kind of like be patient with yourself and learn to, practice love and compassion for yourself. And at the same time, what I call it, every single day, you know, whether how shitty you feel, you know, just try express gratitude at least once a day. Studies have shown that, you know, if you do express 3 gratitudes a day for 21 days, you can actually rewire your brain to think, you know, to think positive. And I know this for a fact because I've done it, and the people that I coach, they've done it. You know, I have people who feel like, oh, it's just hard. But, you know, they eventually tried, and they actually, you know, say that they could feel that, yeah, it does have the benefits. So maybe just try, you know, even if you're skeptical. I know what it's like because I was skeptical, you know, but just try, you know, because if you don't try, then nothing happens. Just try. And it really works, and step by step, you know, and then just be patient. And yeah, and maybe sometimes the anxiety goes, and maybe sometimes the anxiety will come back. But if you keep on expressing gratitude, if you keep on, you know, thinking positive, if you keep on practicing self-love, self-acceptance, and, you know, be compassionate with yourself, then, you know, you will get you will get there, you know. And that's really important. It doesn't really matter how big your progress that you make. You know, don't compare your progress to other people's progress, because everyone has different injuries, everyone have different conditions, we are all different. Never compare yourself, but just make sure that as long as you're making a progress, it doesn't really matter. Even if it's a 1%, it's still a progress. So just be patient for yourself. Yeah.
I'm just thinking at the bottom of this video will be going live on YouTube. If people could just, when they read this, tell us what they're grateful for, and get into practice of doing that. You know, let us know what you think about this video. Tell us how this works for you. It's obviously worked for you, Narita, but I know that it works for a lot of people that are listening as well, because for me, I've trained in mindset. I do hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic program, and this is the technique that I use with my clients, because for me, and I know other therapists will say differently, but mind comes first. Whether you're looking to lose weight, whether you're looking to do more exercise, you have to make that decision in your head first to make that change. So for me, mind comes first. And it's so key. And gratitude is an amazing thing to practice.
Yes, it is simple, and yet a lot of people don't do it, you know? Like, we just go back from a 3 days expo where I had a blank wall. You know, I did like a wall of gratitude. I had a blank wall, and then I invite people to express their gratitude. And I was surprised that, at first I was surprised, but then I was thinking, oh no, maybe it's true, you know, because 10 years ago, Nori, you know, you don't do this stuff, you know. But I was actually surprised that there were quite a number of people that, you know, they do not know what's that all about, and I have to like actually explain. And when I explain, you know, I even show them how it works, you know. I said to them, oh, you know, you just, you know, express your gratitude, write it on this piece of paper, and then put it on this wall. And then I had a few of them who said to me that I'm not sure what I'm grateful of, you know? And I said, how about you think about the people that you have in your life now? Think about the things that you have now. Don't have to think so hard. Just spontaneously think about what you have now in your life, and what are you grateful for? You know, like which one of, like, is it the people? Is it the things that you have? And this lady, from not knowing what she's grateful of, suddenly on her paper she's got like 6-7 things, you know. And that's the thing. Sometimes because we're not exposed to it, we don't have people around us doing it, so we do not know that we have to do it. But when we're exposed, or we surround ourselves with people who does it, and you just have to try. And when you try, yeah, maybe try 3 weeks, you know, every single day, and you will see. And sometimes I had like bad days, okay? I mean, like, because I still have my, what you call it, effects and limitations from the brain injury. You know, some people say to me I shouldn't mention it as limitations, but I'm embracing it, you know. And yeah, I have bad days, you know. I have, you know, when I have my bad days, I could be in bed 2-3 days, you know. But I don't really think about the migraine. I don't really think about, you know, the bad stuff. I would just be grateful that, hey, I have a body that tells me when it's time to rest, you gotta rest, you know. Yeah, and if people do that, that will be the first thing, the first thing to just, you know, change your mindset. And before we go, I just want to share something. I've got this at the back of my card, and I really love it because what you call it, because we're talking about mindset. If I can, okay, just give me a sec. Right, I just wanted to share this quote, which I have at the back of my card. Okay, 3 C's in life. You must make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change. So regardless how many counselors, psychologists, therapists you have, nobody can help you but only you. So you need to make a choice, whether you want to get better or whether you want to just, stick around and just feel sorry for yourself. To take a chance, because you need to take a chance to take a risk. You do not know how it's going to turn out, but you just got to take that chance. And then only your life will never change. So I'm going to repeat this again. 3 C's in life. You must make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change.
That is so beautiful, because that is empowering somebody. That is saying to somebody, you have the power to heal if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, because when we stop taking our focus off of the doctors to help us, or a therapist to help us, or something outside of us to help us, and bring it back within ourselves, it's such a powerful place, and that's where we need to begin with.
Yes, so that's the start. Yeah.
Then?
That's the start. Yeah. Because a lot of people, when they are in that mode, they feel very powerless. They feel like, they feel hopeless, useless, powerless, all the less words, But if they just try to think that the choice is yours, you make that choice to get better. You make that choice to actually, be responsible of your own self and your own life. Then that will empower you to go and seek help and seek the tools that you need to learn to help yourself. And if you still do not know, because I know that sometimes when you try to Google or find help or whatever, there's just so many things out there and it's a bit overwhelming, then that's when you have to look for the coach or the therapies, and go to the doctors. You just got to keep going until you find the right person to help you. And then once you find the right person to help you, and then you learn about all these tools, and then you can help yourself. And those tools, you can use it for the rest of your life, because that's it's been 10 years since my brain injury, and all the tools that I've learned, I'm still using it until today. For example, I still have anxiety, believe it or not. 2 days ago, 2 days ago, I was going to go on a bigger stage, and bigger audience and all that. And I was very, very anxious in the morning. And because, we are all not perfect, and we have all these, negative thoughts sometimes come to us. But I know the tools, and I've learned the tools, to eliminate those negative thoughts, and try to, tell myself, that, hey, everything's going to be fine. You're going to be great. And, I learned the tools about how to focus my thoughts to think from negative to positive. And of course, also, I surround myself with supportive friends. And believe it or not, from an anxious mouse in the morning, when I get on stage, I was like a rock star.
Rita, if anyone wants to come and work with you, where will they find you?
They can check out my website, striveandthrive.com.au, and I'm on Facebook as well. I'm quite active on social media, so they can check me on Facebook, striveandthrive.com.au, and also my website.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to do this interview. I just love to share my story to inspire people, because I do know that there's a lot of you out there who think that, life is over, or who think that, you're feeling depressed and feeling challenged and all that. So I just want people to know that, hey, these emotions are okay. These are part of life. We feel negative emotions, we feel positive emotions. That's perfectly fine, as long as you know how to control and manage it, so that you have a balanced lifestyle. Because I say to people, you can be depressed, not a problem at all. Be depressed. You want to cry. You want to stay in bed, stay in bed. 1-2 days, allow yourself to feel those emotions. But the day comes where you gotta bounce back, and you gotta bounce back and carry on. You can't keep going down. You gotta keep going down.
Perfect. That's a beautiful place to finish. So thank you so much for coming in, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.